Welcome to Extraterrestrial Reality. The Vegas family that encountered 8 to 10 foot tall beings in their backyard during the early morning hours of May 1st are back in the news. Just yesterday, Channel 8 out of Las Vegas has they had a lawyer on that's representing the family now, Sam Hadari, and he's telling Channel 8 News that I guess this family, there's been a lot of trespassers, a lot of people coming around their house. This family does not want any attention. They don't want any publicity. They just want their privacy. They want to be left alone. And they're actually armed, so they don't want anybody going near their house, and they don't want anyone to get hurt. Anyway, I'm just going to play this little clip here from the Channel 8 news report that was on YouTube yesterday.
And you believe them?
Yeah, I believe them because they are sincere. They were scared based on what they said. If they have seen that situation, that you saw the videos, they were reaching for the gun and also trying to see something. I don't know what happened, but apparently they saw something that was out of ordinary. They don't have any aliens in the storage or anywhere, so don't try to climb up the walls or send the drones. There is a possibility of the injury if they get into it, because this family also, they are armed as well, so it's better not to do it because they cannot determine who is entering, who is a trespasser, who is a thief, or who is a robber.
Okay, there you have it. So now this, to me, again, I've been talking about this family. I had several podcasts on this, or I had Scott Roeder on recently, crime scene reconstruction expert who runs a company out of Ohio. He was on recently, and he was talking about this incident, and he pointed out a segment of the video that was filmed during those early morning hours when this event was ongoing. And there was some sort of being that he was captured on video. I think there was. Scott Roeder thinks there was, and among a lot of other people think there was something there, that these people weren't lying. And I guess what you're seeing now, the fact that they have retained an attorney to represent them, because they're obviously they don't want any publicity. If this, again, I pointed this out before, a lot of people were saying this whole thing stinks of a hoax. Well, here's something else that makes it look like the antithesis of a hoax. If somebody was perpetuating a hoax, they wouldn't be hiring a lawyer and to represent them and to go on TV and tell people out there, trespassers, potential trespassers, hey, to stay away. So let's look at all the different things that happened here. Okay, of course, during the late hours of April 30th, there was a police officer that was near the home who, on his body cam footage, captured what looked like a meteor coming down or something light, some sort of a light falling from the sky. A lot of people say this was a meteor, who I've talked to. There was also somebody from NASA indicated that they think it was a meteor. Now, we don't have any proof of that, and I don't know how anybody could say with 100% certainty that it was a meteor, but apparently it was going down in the direction of where that home is, where this Las Vegas family that soon would experience these beings in their yard, where they are. So I guess I'm just, but I digress. Who cares? Whatever that was, whether it was a meteor or it was the spacecraft itself, I guess we're never going to know, right? It doesn't matter to me. Well, if a scientist says they think it's a meteor, okay, that's fine. But is it a meteor? I mean, the falling stars that I've seen over the years, even ones that were close up that I've seen, they're moving a lot faster than what you see on that video. But again, that doesn't matter. The fact of the matter is that after that event, after that meteor went down, later on, during the early morning hours, sometime after 12, on May 1st, that family, a family member named Angel, contacted police in a 911 call and said that there was 8 to 10 foot tall creatures in the yard that were not human. The police investigated it. They thought that the family was telling the truth. They didn't think it was some sort of a hoax. And the family didn't immediately go out and look for attention on this either. It was a local podcaster in Las Vegas named Doug Papa, and also then later after him, Channel 8 News, got wind of this story from the police and then went to the house sometime after this, over a week after this incident happened, to interview the family members. So again, if it was a hoax, then why wasn't the family members the very next day or the days afterward immediately taking this story to the public? They weren't, because it wasn't a hoax. They were telling the truth. They believed that there was things in their yard. So then the story does come out because of Doug Papa and also Channel 8. So they meet people of the press, and before that even Doug Papa, and they tell him the story. It seems like Angel was more open. This young man in this family was more open. It seemed like there was he had a brother too that was there. Apparently his father and a mother. We don't know what the family members' names are, and they want their privacy, so I don't think anybody should, even if they did know who they are, they shouldn't put it out there because they're looking for privacy. Obviously, they retained an attorney to tell the world, hey, stay away. So again, if it was a hoax, they would have immediately done something the next day. That didn't happen. People went to them, asked them questions, and then the story went public. Then Angel put out that video where he talked more about it. He talked, even previous to that, he talked to Doug Papa on his podcast and told him the whole story. It's a believable story. Something happened there. These people were not pulling off a hoax. Now, there are some aspects to the story which I'm not sure of, which I don't know. Maybe Angel's imagination's gone a little bit wild. There was some chalk marks on some concrete in the backyard near doors to where they sleep. And it looked like he thought it was that the aliens did that. I'm not so sure about that. But as far as the rest of the story, right, it does seem plausible. I mean, they were literally they were frightened. You could tell in those videos that they were frightened when they were trying to go out into that yard. And then the other part about it, again, they weren't seeking publicity. And then some people say, well, it's obviously a hoax because, Angel called up the news channel, and then when they went to the door, they wouldn't answer the door. Well, obviously, you could see what happened there. Angel seems to be more open about this. He wanted to talk about it. He didn't have a problem with it. But obviously, other people in the family did have a problem with it, and they wanted everyone to stay away. And that's why the doors weren't getting answered, obviously. So again, to me, none of this stinks of a hoax. And now we have this. This adds another layer to this whole story. We have a lawyer, and the lawyer, you heard what he said, is he wants them to stay away. He believes them. He believes that they believe it anyway. So it's not a trick. I don't see, if they're trying to make money out of this, then I don't see it. Where is it? I don't see them trying to make money out of this. They don't want us to even talk about it. They just want people to leave them alone. So again, it's not a hoax. I think that incident really happened. I do plan on doing at least one more podcast on this. I was speaking with that Scott Roeder, the crime scene reconstruction expert, and I want to do one more podcast about this at some point soon, and he's agreed to do it. So he will be on the show at some point. Again, to go over this whole thing, to go through the entire timeline of events and figure out what parts are fiction and what parts are fact. But it's at least here. I mean, I'm talking about this. I look at the evidence. I look at the video. Scott Roeder helped out with his analysis. There's some kind of an effort to investigate this. You have people like Doug Papa, who's been investigating this, who's still talking about it on his podcast. He's still giving different new updates on this. And then you have other people out there in the world, debunkers, like on Twitter, who right out of the gate, they just said it was a hoax. Like, how do you know that? You didn't even look into this. They didn't even give it any credence. That's because what are they going to do? I mean, how could they? I mean, if they look at, okay, maybe they'll look at the body cam footage and say, oh, no, that's just the meteor. And the rest of it, that's a lie. They're just lying. Well, how do they know that? How could you call somebody a liar? They made a 911 call. They can go to jail for that. Why would they take that chance if it was just for a phony hoax? They're not going to do that. And they didn't even seek any sort of attention after the fact. But yet, people online agree with these numbskulls, right? These debunkers. I don't know what it is. I mean, is it the fact that people in America, particularly, I want to say this. When they hear someone with an English accent like Mick West, it's more elegant. It sounds, yes, it's obviously a hoax. I don't see how anyone could possibly believe anything like this. And then they just take it for gospel and then move on with their lives. I mean, maybe I should start using an English accent. I'm probably not that good at it, but I'll give it a try. Hey, welcome to Extraterrestrial Reality. Today we're going to talk about the experiences that I've had with these extraterrestrial beings. When I was a child, I experienced a creature in my bedroom, and
yes, it's real, folks. And then in 1994, I was on holiday with a friend. We were night fishing, and this craft showed up, and it was obviously not made by humankind. And it did things that human-made aircraft cannot do. It was real. So there is an extraterrestrial presence here. There's something most certainly here. I've seen it. Millions of other people have encountered these things. And you should believe me because of my elegant accent. Yes, would you care for some brandy, perhaps? It's very fine brandy. I will not palm you off with an indifferent port. So, sit down, let's relax, and let's all be reasonable. There are creatures here that are from other worlds, there's no question about it. So, you should believe it, because I'm using an English accent. That should make me seem more authoritative than some regular coal region dialect that some idiots out there might.
You see what I'm saying? That's hurting my voice after a while. Anyway, yeah. Maybe if I start doing that, maybe that would be the trick. Just start using different accents, and maybe instead of talking the way I do my normal dialect, the normal accent, get rid of it. Try to come up with something new, and then maybe the word will get out there. Maybe I'll become more believable. Be more elegant. I don't know. So I guess it's worth a shot of it. I mean, really, when you think about it, you have when you listen to like people from the UK, they obviously that's the English language. I mean, they speak it better than we do here. Obviously, it seems, right? They have these accents that sound to us. In this country, it sounds like they have a better grasp of the language than we do here. Just the way they sound, it's this accent. It's very believable. It's very convincing whenever they talk. And I'm wondering if that's the phenomenon here with Mick West. It's just the fact people in here in America who are duped easily. They hear his accent. Yes, that Las Vegas incident was obviously a meteor, and those people were obviously lying. It's an obvious hoax. There's no reason to even investigate it because they're lying, and I don't believe in this kind of thing, and neither should you. So it makes me wonder though, like if I had that accent, would more people like get the message that I'm trying to put out there? Like would they hear that better? Like would they, because I'm speaking in a more elegant tone, a more elegant accent, would that bring more people on board with the reality of the situation instead of these lies that are put out by con artists out there who are just looking for clicks and likes and nonsense and fame? They get brought, like people like Mick West. He gets brought on TV to debunk stuff. The guy doesn't even investigate. He'll look. The only thing that he does, right, is he'll look at images of stuff and figure out and say whether he thinks it's a fly or insect or it could be something else. But when it comes to these other cases like this, like the Vegas case, that's too difficult for people like him. So what they do is, to them, right out of the gate, they'll just say it's a hoax without doing any investigation at all, and just say that these people are obviously lying because he doesn't believe in it. And that's how these debunkers work. So anybody, like for instance, the Ariel school, they have nothing with that. When it comes to that, you have all these witnesses, you have all these little kids back in 1994. So what did they come up with? There was some guy that came up with a theory saying, well, what if it was just some traveling puppeteer that showed up at the school and put on a little puppet show and then drove away quick before any of the adults came out of and then Mick West puts it out there, propagates it, puts it on his Twitter feed so everyone sees this, because he can't come up with any explanations for these other kinds of events. So they'll just say it's a hoax right out of the gate. I remember one time I brought up to him about the Turkey UFO stuff. I mean, right up there, that was proven that it was a hoax, wasn't it? Obviously, someone has already shown that this thing was a hoax. When obviously it wasn't a hoax. When I talk about that all the time. There were, experts from 4 different countries that looked at all of it, looked at the film, interviewed people, and made a determination that it obviously wasn't a hoax. But again, see, they don't go to for the tough things. Instead, he'll look at something that was filmed. Like he went, was that something recently this past week? There was an episode of Skinwalker Ranch where it looked like there was a fly flying. You could see wings on it. So he'll jump on that. That's easy. See, it's obviously it's a fly, and all these people at this show, Skinwalker Ranch, are just a bunch of fools. So, I mean, that's easy, right? But when it comes to the hard stuff, like the Vegas stuff, they'll just say it's a hoax, and they'll have nothing to back up what their reasoning is for a hoax, other than it's just not true. There's no such thing as extraterrestrials coming here. There's no such thing as non-human intelligences present on this planet. And then people just believe them and just, Mick West said it's not real, so it mustn't be real. It must be a hoax, just like he said, because he said it like this, and it was very convincing that he said it in that English accent of his. So we must believe him. Anyway, we're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back. Okay, we are back. A group of intelligent beings are preparing right now to go to Mars, and those intelligent beings are from this planet Earth. Actually, when you really think about it, right, the amazing advancements that we have made over the past 100 years. If you look back in history and you look at the year 1923 and you look now at the year 2023, it's amazing the advancements that the human race has achieved. And here we are preparing right now to go to Mars. And we've already made it to the moon. That's old hat. That's over 50 years ago we started going to the moon, right? And we're planning on going there again pretty soon. But we're also planning on going deeper, farther than the moon. We're planning on going to Mars. And like, if you look at us and what we're doing, and then some people say, well, there's no way that anybody could come travel from deep space and come to Earth. Well, look what we're doing. We're planning on going to Mars. That's pretty far, right? I mean, especially considering where our technology was just 100 years ago, right? Anyway, here's an article that was on itv.com. I'll leave the link for it so you can check it out for yourself. And the headline reads, Life on Mars, 4 people locked into fake habitat for NASA's year-long Big Brother-style experiment. It says here, 4 volunteers have been locked in a fake Mars habitat by NASA and will not be leaving the 158 square meter area for a whole year. The Crew Health and Performance Exploration Analog, or CHAPEA habitat, is part of NASA's mission to prepare for human exploration of Mars. The 3D printed structure known as Mars Dune Alpha will simulate what real life on the planet would be like. NASA will be monitoring how the volunteers cope with living in isolation and confinement in the tight space for 378 days. Well, let me just stop there for a minute. I would not be suited to travel to Mars and have to live in one of these compounds. I would not be suited to stay in this little compound right now. I wouldn't want it to be like being locked up. I just don't know about that. I'm not sure about that one. But I hats off to these people for doing this, being part of this experiment. It's very interesting. Anyway, continuing here, it says Kelly Haston, Ross Brockwell, Nathan Jones, and Anka Salariu, who are not astronauts, all entered the habitat on Wednesday. They are the first of 3 different crews who will each carry out 1-year missions in Mars Dune Alpha. The group will live and work in the habitat at NASA's Johnson Space Center in Houston, Texas, and do tasks including growing crops, simulated spacewalks, habitat maintenance, and science experiments. It has everything you might need to live on Mars, and there's even red sand outside. Let's just stop there for a second. Again, the people out there, the naysayers who say that there's no such thing, there's no way that there's beings coming here from other worlds. Look at what we are doing, right? We are planning to go to Mars, and we are preparing to do it. And by preparing to do it, we're doing these simulations where we're going to have people stay in these things for over a year in these habitats, closed habitats. They're not going to be able to leave, to see how they react, to see how they could deal with it. And that's fascinating. And the thing about it is, I just recently received a message, an email from one of my listeners, and he was listening to all of the podcasts I have starting from over 2 years ago. And he was saying that he was listening to the one where I was talking about how people just need to look around us, look around what we have right here, right now, right? And this life is a miracle. I mean, look at all the life out here. I mean, I saw today, I saw a rabbit in the yard. I saw a squirrel. I see birds. I mean, look at us. The fact that all the life, this whole planet is teeming with life. animals, fish, it's the human beings, the human race. It's just fantastic. And look at all the things that's going on here. It's amazing. There are other planets out there too that are similar, right? That most certainly have life, right? And some of those planets most certainly have intelligent life. And when you think about it, right now, okay, we're planning on doing this. We're planning a trip to Mars, and we're doing these experiments here, right? And I guess that's something we have to do because, I mean, once you get there, you're not going to be able to leave probably, and who knows how it's going to work. But we need to see if people could deal with it, right? And so we're doing that, and that's now. Look at what was going on 100 years ago. This is undreamed of back then, right? And so, I mean, what's it going to be like 1,000 years from now, 10,000 years from now, if we're still around, right? Where are we going to be going then? I mean, within the next 100 years, there's going to be people on Mars, right? Pretty soon, actually, probably sooner than that, less than 100 years. It's going to happen. We're moving to that point, right? So where are we going to be 1,000 years from now? Are we going to be heading out of the galaxy by that point, or heading deeper into the galaxy, out of the solar system and somewhere else? I mean, or 10,000, 100,000 years from now, where are we going to be going? So obviously, when you think about all these things, and then you think about all the experiences that people have had with apparent beings from other worlds, I think they're extraterrestrial. I know some people say interdimensional, but you think about it, right? That's what happens after time. We keep expanding. We keep wanting to explore, and obviously that's what's going on with other beings. They're exploring, and that's why they're here. We don't know what they're up to. Maybe we're just too dumb to ever understand what they're up to. We just don't know, but it's happening. This whole thing is a miracle, and there's most certainly other miracles out there too, not just here. Anyway, let's continue with the story. It says here, each crew member has different mission activities to complete, including spacewalks, robotic operations, and maintaining their habitat. Before heading inside, the team gave a final wave and said their goodbyes. Research scientist and commander Kelly Hastings said, "I feel incredibly lucky and blessed to be part of this crew. It is a career highlight to be both scientist and test subject. I just can't believe I'm here," added U.S. Navy microbiologist Anka Solurio, who will be the team's science officer. It says here, the results of CHAPIA and the knowledge gained from the mission could impact future NASA missions, including those to the real surface of Mars. The whole area is made to be accurate to life on Mars as possible, and even has a 1,200 square foot red sandbox, just like the planet's surface. Mars Dune Alpha is about the size of 1.5 Premier League football pitches and was created using lavacrete, a type of non-shrinking polymer concrete. There are 4 private crew quarters, dedicated workstations, a medical station, and common lounge areas. There will be limited water supply, and the team will need to grow their own leafy greens for food as part of their mission. One of the challenges is a simulated traverse of the sandbox. In pairs, the group will need to complete virtual reality walks on treadmills. Mars has about a third of the gravity Earth does, which will create its own challenges for eventual human missions on the red planet. I just want to stop there for a second now. You know, the one thing about this, though, I mean, the people know that they're not on Mars. I mean, there's going to be a little bit of a difference, I would say. That's the one little thing that you got to keep in mind here. I mean, they know that they're in some sort of an experiment, and they're going to be safe in the end, right? They know they're going to get out of there, you know, at some point. It says here, Mars has about a third of the gravity Earth does, which will create its own challenges for eventual human missions on the red planet. The objective of each traverse will vary throughout the mission, from field geology to taking samples and evaluating sites and simulated construction activities. Some of the virtual reality traverses will also include simulated science and maintenance activities, such as setting up experiment packages or performing dust mitigation steps to optimize solar panel functionality. Anyway, it's very interesting. Like, we are preparing. I mean, at some point, extraterrestrials are going to descend on Mars. Right now, actually, when you think about it, there's an extraterrestrial robot running around Mars, the rover. So yeah, now extraterrestrial beings, living and breathing beings, flesh and blood extraterrestrials, are going to at some point go to Mars and be there. And that's why nobody should think it's too fantastic that other beings are doing similar things and have actually come here, made it this far to our planet, and are exploring our planet right now, or whatever. Who knows what they're doing? But anyway, until next time.